Greetings, everyone. We're live, and today I'm very pleased to have my special guest. So, traditionally, we start from introduction. My name is Irina Manakovska. I'm VP of Strategy at Java Software Solutions and XME Digital, and today I'm hosting Anastasiia Bilous, who is going to talk and maybe reveal some secret of Ukrainian resilience and actually how to build resilient and safe startup climate. Anastasia has enormous experience from ecosystems of innovations from different part of the globe. And I will pass my word to her so she could introduce herself and tell a little bit more about how she's related to innovations because she has different kind of occupations and she pushes a lot of things forward.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction, Irina. My pleasure to be here. So you actually did the right introduction that I do a lot of different things and it's a little bit, complex to describe. But I think the main things which I would like to highlight today that I'm already for more than 11 years involved into the startup ecosystem. I started working in one of the VCs, moved to Silicon Valley, and was responsible for the merchant acquisition processes there. Afterward, I moved from there to Switzerland, and right now I run the Swiss startup network. So we organize different type of the startup battles and help to match the startups together with the investors. And when the war started, we started to welcome Ukrainian startups who can come or do the online presentations, to join our events as well. That's one of the side. Then another side is I became the expert at Bray One, the defense tech project, right, organized by our government, and I'm one of the experts who review the applications which come from the startups or projects, related to the defense tech. And as another activity in New Media Services, the company where I am the CEO, we actually invest into B2B startups and help them in the very early stages because that's crucial and the most difficult time for the startups to find the investments, especially for the Ukrainian startups. Usually it comes from the angel investments, but during these times it's a little bit more difficult. So we support as it's not volunteering, of course, we have the interest, but we consider it anyway. It's a nice gesture, I would put it this way, to help particularly the Ukrainian businesses to get on their feet and to launch their businesses.
I think it's very important because like every country, every business, they need some kind of like door opener. I mean, the right person in the network who can introduce them because it's not so easy to find the right peer to get the right information. So it's also about like partnership and collaboration.
Yes, I agree with you.
So let's start. My favorite question. I like to talk about resilience because personally I believe like creativity, it's one of the core skills which can help us to compete artificial intelligence and any kind of disaster as human beings, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
I would start from like innovative mindset and all of this. So today we see that despite the war, there are a lot of marvelous innovations secure in Ukraine, and not all of them are related to defense tech or emergency services. So there are different kind of healthcare projects, a lot of like numerous projects dedicated to mental health, to how to work with trauma, different kind of like AI usage or devices for health check or whatever. So despite the war, a lot of people there managed to find some, I don't know, whatever energy ideas and to push these innovations forward. So from your perspective, you see and you evolve, help to evolve Ukrainian startups. Are there any like tendency? What have changed since like last 2 years, or which innovations, which areas are the hottest now? So can you please share like some general overview or observations from your perspective?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the question. It's a really good one. And we cannot say that nothing changed, right? Because, of course, all of the Ukrainians have changed and the whole market, the whole industry, not only in Ukraine, but globally changed due to the Russian war in Ukraine. And anyway, we see that the Ukrainian startup ecosystem has been growing really rapidly in recent years. And that happens to the numerous factors, including first, Ukraine has an incredible strong pool of talented tech developers, managers, designers, etc. Ukraine has a long history of producing skilled software developers and engineers, and this pool actually, like grew with the support of the international also business. They went through different conferences, trade shows. They met with their clients, globally. So they also understood, how to work in different types of the environment, time zones, languages, culture differences, and etc. etc. And that helped them to build a strong like base, of understanding how the business works, like IT business works, and to come up right now with their own strong ideas which they can deliver. Because of course the idea is great, but it's also very important the execution and how you can deliver it to the world. And I think like the previous history with everything which was happening in Ukraine with the pool of talents actually helps a lot. So that's number one. Number two is still actually a lower cost of living. Of course, part of the Ukrainians had to leave Ukraine because of the war, but still a lot of people stayed in Ukraine. And that makes us a competitive still market and industry. And I'm not talking only about IT. For example, just last week I had the meeting with the company Geberit. That's the Swiss-based giant, I would say. They are the leader in the production of all the stuff for the bathrooms, like everything, and they
Yes,
have actually a
sanitary
huge.
units and all this. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a huge factory actually in Ukraine. And just right before the war, they were planning to scale the business and to build another one and to move more product production to Ukraine. So they were like absolutely looking forward it because of this combination of the pool of talents. Again, non-IT, right, but other areas as well, and the cost of living and all the other things around that. And I mean that's a great example. And of course, if such companies and such giants such as Geberit will announce and keep supporting, which they do, they still have the factory in Ukraine, they still employ everyone, and actually hiring actively hiring, promote them a little bit. So, the more businesses like them will keep working with Ukraine and will show the support and will show that actually that's a great country to invest, then it means that more businesses from abroad, will keep investing into that. So, yes, strong pool of talents, lower cost of living. Then I would actually come to the growing government support, because again, for the international business you need the guarantees that at least the government is on their side, and whatever can be controlled, I mean you cannot control the missiles attack or something like this, but whatever can be controlled from the legal perspective, from the tax perspective, from the grants perspective, that will be controlled in the fair way from the government, that will be transparent, that will be easy to track, that will be managed on the scale of the international law system, so, and we are actually moving forward it, right, with all the initiatives Ukraine organized, with all our official claims, like where we want to be, where we see ourselves, right, like for example in the European Union, and how we try to adjust our a lot of our processes inside. That's a good sign also, that Ukraine changes through the war into the right direction for the international businesses. Yeah, I think that's kind of three main things which actually brought us to where we are right now. And we see the very, very, yeah, you said it right, like, resilience from the Ukrainian entrepreneurs. So, of course, I believe like the majority would say that if Ukrainian entrepreneurs like manage to survive that, I mean, everything else will be definitely, achievable. So that's a good sign in that perspective.
Yeah, obviously. But I would like to another question. So we're talking about like Ukrainian startups and resilience in terms of like overcoming challenges related to war. But for example, there are other countries like Switzerland, you're now working and living in, and or United States, Silicon Valley, whatever you name it. So based on your perspective, you have such enormous experience with innovations and startups. How actually this resilience, I mean, as a mindset or its skill, or then some kind of support from ecosystem actually impacts on, I don't know, how many innovation we can expect, how many startups do we have, I don't know, per 1,000 people or whatever. I mean, how it matters, how it affects, and because from my perspective, any kind of enterprise, not only startup, even any kind of business, it's about like you have failures, you have gains, and you have balance between them. So this year you have more failures, and next year you have more gains. And actually, ability to overcome all of these bumps on your road, it's about resilience. I mean, your personally as a leader, your ability to lead, whatever, and your organization. I mean, which kind of decisions you are implementing. But based on your perspective, in terms of like innovative ecosystems, startups, how this affects and what should be considered. So, for example, if I'm working in this area, what should I consider? How can I like create this actually safe and resilient climate for startups and innovations?
Okay, I will actually answer this question probably in a non traditional way, but I think that the war brought some benefits, let's call it this way, to the Ukrainian entrepreneurs, because the world like finally turned, with the face to the Ukrainian businesses, not only for like writing the code, doing, some backup, job, but also as, the strong people who are ready and who know how to fight. And this brought different possibilities, like the amount of the financial grants which are available worldwide, in Europe, in the US, in different other countries, for like specifically, for the Ukrainian entrepreneurs, the amount of educational programs run by businesses, by government, by the universities throughout different countries. For example, myself, I started to study in Bern University of Applied Sciences last year as a postgraduate education for 1 year, dedicated to the rebuilding of Ukraine after the war. So the university themselves gain together the best minds, the best professors, the best entrepreneurs, who actually are working or were working in the countries where was the war or in the emerging markets, and, help to rebuild those countries. And now they share the experience, their knowledge, their whatever advices, with the students. And this is the free program. Of course, you have to, get there. But anyway, this opportunity exists. Before that, to become a student in Switzerland, especially for the postgraduates or PhD, that will be like very difficult and very expensive. Right now, it's more achievable than ever before. Many different accelerators have opened their doors for the Ukrainian entrepreneurs. Different trade shows, conferences have the discounts or free tickets or something, So to get the information to like, actually, I believe right now it's easier than it was before for the Ukrainian entrepreneurs. Also, to get the attention from media became also, I would not say easier, but more realistic, because anyway, Ukraine and like this topic is, everyone is talking about it. So I believe right now, like, what if you're the entrepreneur and you are looking forward, like how to start, how to scale, where to go. Of course, like it's a very broad question, I cannot really answer it right now, but if you really think that, for example, Switzerland, right, where I live right now, will be your next market, then look for the educational programs which are available there. Choose the format which is comfortable for you: online, offline. Should it be the university, or maybe some courses, or maybe some trainings organized by the businesses or by different accelerators, or maybe you're looking for a mentor actually who is very good at your area, and he can present your startup, in, for example, Switzerland, right? Because he has a lot of connections, he's well known, blah, blah, blah. You can reach this kind of person as well. You can go to different conferences in your area and also meet these people there, to introduce yourself and being able to sell your businesses. So I believe, like, the entrepreneurs right now, they were always, and they will be always, they will have to be very active. But right now, I really see that this being active actually converts into the next steps of the projects growing. And I believe that's a right moment to catch it. Many countries actually like went away from the shock from the war, that the war happened, and at first they didn't know how to do it, what to do, where like to put the money in, how to actually, that. And right now, the whole European Union, Switzerland, the US, and other countries are coming up with own financial plans, like what to do, how to invest money. And for example, Switzerland's goal is actually small and medium businesses. They don't want to just give like hundreds of millions, to somewhere. They prefer actually to break it down into small projects and see that out of 10, what, 3 4 at least will succeed. That's their goal, for example, which was officially announced a couple of weeks ago by the president of the country, and then supported by the council and chamber of commerce, etc. And that's just one example. I'm talking about like on Switzerland, but I'm sure, and I know that France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, even Poland have such programs as well. Even Israel, they also have actually interesting startup projects to support, and enable the startups on the pre-seed round. So yeah, being proactive, like really, is equal to the conversion right now. That's my suggestion.
It's an interesting, very interesting point I can make here. Like just to summarize that
Please.
when it's some kind of like crisis happens, like war or any kind of else crisis. So there are normally, as people were have like the three basic reactions to stress. You can like freeze, fight, or make yourself dead.
Exactly.
So in
Yeah.
terms of this, I mean, we're overcoming this natural reaction, but after that, it's very important to actually look for new ideas. And ideas occur when you expand your network. I mean, communication with people, like educational programs, accelerators, whatever. You give a lot of marvelous examples. And on the other hand, it's like make your I don't know, ideas map broader. So go for some kind of educational program, short one, long one, online, offline, just to expand the range of ideas. I mean, expand your mindset, get out this bulb of whatever you're working in, and it allows you to have more energy, more passion to what you're doing, and actually to increase your conversion or rate or conversion growth or whatever, and boost your business or yourself personally, because if you're a founder, it's the most crucial thing to invest in yourself as well.
Exactly, to have the fuel inside you, because otherwise nothing will work.
Yeah, because you need to lead people actually, and it demands a lot
Yes.
of energy and yeah, and all of this. So I think it's very amazing, and it's also very good. This point you have told that when it's some kind of crisis happens, a lot of other countries who are ready to support, who are ready to invest, because any crisis will, like at the end of the day, it will gone. I mean, in I don't know, months, years, we never know. But there are a lot of people who are ready to invest. And actually, I have a thought, and I'm going to host. Evgen, he is chief officer of Skytone. It's a real vehicles company, so they basically
Mhm.
producing drones, but not only for defense tech, but for like emergency prevention as well use
Mhm.
cases. And he told me that invest in Ukraine is profitable. I mean, for some kind of businesses, like example you gave with Geberit, is that they're keeping investing, they keeping their production unit there, so they're producing stuff. And it's very interesting that like this classic Chinese proverb that crisis is about
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
opportunities. Yeah, and here I think we see that also there are a lot of opportunities. Maybe they are not low hanging fruits, obviously, but you have something to go for, and you need to go for it just to start to act. Yeah. And it's very important maybe for any kind of ecosystem, like you give a lot of us examples from Ukraine, and Clara told us a lot of examples from Sweden today, to create a
Mhm.
lot of opportunities actually to occur. I mean, for ideas, connections, projects, whatever, and all of this like governmental projects or programs and support, like with taxations, making business transferable. Like we have Minister of Digital Transformation, and they do a lot of job to make this possible. I mean, as much as it possible to, and all of this is very important, I think. Okay,
Yeah,
this
I
sounds.
agree with you. Just wanted to give like another example to our audience. We also recently met with a Swiss-based company Faro, and they produce the device together with the software. And with the help of this device, you can easily walk around different constructions, like for example, apartment, and it makes better than 360 degrees videos, and also explains like the thickness, the all the details about the walls,
Mhm.
floor, like, and all these details. But it was always tested on the new buildings which are being built in Switzerland, right? And that was the only user case, etc.
Perfect building and perfect country.
I mean, that's all they had. And then we actually talked to them, and we were like, all right, but what is your like, purpose? And they were like, oh, our purpose is actually the reconstruction, not to build something from the zero, because otherwise you will have the architecture plans and you understand how it works. You don't need any whatever machines and lasers and software. But actually, their idea is to preserve whatever historic buildings existing around the world, and to go with that, to analyze what is available there, what can be saved, what should be unfortunately restructured, and actually to keep everything as much as possible, because that's a historical heritage or something. But they actually do not have a lot of such cases, bad cases in Switzerland. And I was like, yeah, but Ukraine is perfect. If you want to go to the, I'm sorry, but ruined buildings, and see actually what your camera, what your software can do. Like, do you know any better like area than to go than, for example, Kherson, Bucho, like,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
hard
this.
to, yeah.
Exactly. Kharkiv, like just in Dnipro, there are 250, because I come from Dnipro, 250 of schools and kindergartens were Dnipro area which were bombed, ruined, etc. Just go there. And of course, these people will be a little bit like reluctant to go there during the war, especially like for the business. I was like, okay, but there are a lot of the people living there. No one actually left, even like in Dnipro area or Kharkov or whatever. It's thousands, hundreds thousands of people are living there and they need jobs. Give them the job to walk around with that, especially if it would be their houses, and you would have afterward to renovate, reconstruct, like do something as a positive impact on their lives. And job actually itself also not a bad thing to have, today. So just do that, and that's one of the projects which just came like that. For them, it's incredible because it gives them a lot of data, which is not available in Switzerland at all, right? So they can, improve it. Afterward, actually, our Ukrainian developers can help with the software and, etc. And they will come up with a better project, which will be, more proficient. It will probably cost less than what they do, with the Swiss employees and stuff, and it's like win-win situation for everyone. Another example, that it's not only about IT, it's actually the world right now starting to understand that, we're a big country in the middle of Europe with different types of resources. I mean, not just people, I'm talking about like all the resources, alternative energy, this, that, so, and the world just starts to think about us as the potential partner in that. I believe that was not in the map before.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not only about like test and feel or using some kind of like particular sources, like you gave an example at the beginning of our talk regarding like software developers or any kind of sources. So it's like a broad perspective because Ukraine has a lot of experience. So in terms of energy, I know that we even as a country, we provide different kind of consultation on sustainable energy manufacturing in other countries. I mean, I'm talking about like nearest Europe, like Romania, for example, whatever. And it means that we literally do a lot of amazing stuff in different areas because when you're living in emerging country, you need to move fast. I mean, you can't expect to return of investment 10 or 20, 30 years. So you understand that you need to produce results faster. You need to innovate faster. You need to actually test your ideas faster to understand which kind of values behind them, and gives a lot of resource. Yeah, it gives a lot of what to use. And you were talking about this example, the idea occurred. So this networking effect which you made for this company Faro. So you told how they can use actually test their device in different kind of facilities and make it like safe and in scale to grab the data. And here we like can shift to second part of our discussion, actually related to future summit of Ukraine, which where both are going to participate in Sweden, February 15 and 16th. And actually, this podcast is part of like introducing this summit. So I know you travel a lot. You were in Davos and you presenting a lot, like what you can do from Ukraine, what kind of innovations can be imported or exported to Ukraine. So you building these bridges across Europe, across the globe. So what's your secret actually of this NetO networking or this participating in different kind of business event? Because it can be like overwhelming for a lot of people. I mean, logistic, traveling, talking to a lot of people. So what's your secret? What would be your recommendation for our, for example, startup founders? They need to travel a lot. They need to talk to a lot of people to introduce their ideas, and they need to be as energized as you are because you're like you're I don't know, you're like supernova, and it's amazing how many energy you have.
Thank you.
So can you share your secret?
Okay, there are no actually secrets. It's just again the practice. And thank you for this question. I think the COVID again made a lot of bad things, and the only good thing it made, at least in my opinion, is that the world became easier on the online communication. Before, I believe that at least I worked a lot with B2B in our company, New Media Services, right? It was like almost rude for some of the businesses to see each other only online. They were like, why you would come to our office, sit down as normal person and share the dinner with me. And it's still nice, don't take me wrong. It's still nice, of course, to see people
It's
face to
better way
face.
of doing business. Yeah.
Yeah, but it
Uh,
changed, right? And it's
yeah.
again, I
Yeah.
find it a very good thing, and especially for the Ukrainians who either cannot travel, or even if you're female or have the whatever illegal rights, to get out of Ukraine. It's still expensive, and probably it's not the most important thing to invest, the first money from the startup or whatever, from the business you lead. But speaking to the people, that's in general, it's really important. Networking, communication is the crucial, and you might not understand what this particular connection will make for you, would bring out to you, but spend at least 5-10 minutes, and that's why elevate your pitch, like know how to sell and to explain what you are doing in a couple minutes. And then maybe the other suggestion, smart idea would come through it, right? Like this Faro, when I would hear about it, the tool for the renovations, I would be like, sounds too fancy for Ukraine to have it right now. Like that would be my first idea, and so you understand, one device costs like 50,000, per day. So I would be like, to rent it and use it, and I would be like, ugh, of course, too expensive. But then if we actually repackage it after the discussion and we understand what they need, hey, maybe we can actually do that for you, and you will, do that for us. So you understand, like you find this, thing. So my ideas when you get ready for any types of business events will be the next. First one, networking and building relationships. That's a great opportunity to meet new people, expand network, make valuable connections with potential clients. And you should not be focused only, or I should go offline, otherwise it doesn't work. Believe me, I participated in so many online conferences, webinars, whatever activities where I would see the interesting person just drop the line in the chat or somewhere, or on LinkedIn, hey, like I've heard that, I liked it, let's talk afterwards, let's get together. And that works perfectly well. I see a lot of people go to the offline events and they waste their time on the things which actually do not convert into anything good. So networking and building relationships work in both online and offline world. Second is staying up to date with industry trends. You need to get ready yourself, to the event which you plan to attend, because otherwise you will be looking weird there. But also consider as, this event as getting knowledge. Unfortunately, some of the sessions will be not that productive. Some of the speakers will be not sharing their secrets and just going, on the tops which everyone knows already. Of course, I understand that. And then it's your actually job to then find the speaker and ask him directly, like, hey, what do you think about this and that? And believe me, like in 90% of the cases, you will get the fair, honest reply to your question. So be aware of what's going on, who will be talking, and what you need to get from this conference, and work on that. No one will bring it to you on the plate when you will just sit in the whatever offline, room, and the speaker will be talking and you'll be on the phone and then expecting some good outcome out of it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work this way. What else? Know your audience. Absolutely, like that's must have. Like couple weeks before each event which I attend, I go through the attendees and I check, like the main points which can be interesting for me, and I try to understand with whom I want to catch up personally, whom I would like to listen to, maybe with whom, So I make the plan, and for each event I attend, I have like my goals, what I want to achieve, with whom to talk, what to discuss, this and that. So I have like, that's a to-do list. I just don't go like, like as people say, yolling around, right? I go with the specific goals, specific KPIs for each of the meeting I attend. Prepare your elevator pitch. That I already said, and that's I will highlight as a really key importance. If you start like, no one will want to actually listen to that further. Busy people are busy people, and people whom you would love to connect probably are that successful because of the reason. Please practice seriously in your shower or anywhere, in front of the mirror, 1 minute, perfect, and then up to 3 minutes, that's the second level if the person got interested. That's crucial to explain what your business does in 1 minute. If you cannot do it, it means that you do not understand your business perfectly well. I believe that's my advices.
I think a couple of thoughts here. So basically, effective participation in any kind of business event, it's skill and it could be built. I mean, you need to plan, you need to understand what you're expecting from this event. I mean, networking or selling or whatever. And actually, you go for it. I mean, and you are focused, you're dedicated, you do your homework, like with elevator speech. And I think it's very important and amazing. And the other thought here, so this example with Farah, I will return back a little bit. There is even a mindset which is called serendipity mindset. It's a great book written by Christopher Bush, and
I
it's
love it.
marvelous example. So you observe an information and you're connecting dots basically. So my favorite idea from any kind of conference, I hear some insight, something new for me from the industry, and I'm looking for someone to actually validate this insight. So I have an insight that this kind of product they would be in high demand, like I don't know anything related to AI, for example. And I found some other expert and asked him or her a question to actually like pass this idea forward and see what occurred. It's also, I mean, even any kind of business event when you network, not only listen for information, it's a great tool to validate some kind of hypothesis as well. So maybe you're thinking about, okay, I can develop my product in this or this direction, and I can develop this feature. Ask about the problem behind this feature. I mean, how people are resolving this issue, and you will have a lot of marvelous insight in a very friendly manner, and they actually can also move your business forward. It's very important as well.
Agree,
Amazing.
agree. And always follow up on everything you discussed, during the conference, because actually after everyone is chilled, relax after the busy week or whatever, how long the conference lasted. It's good to relax and just, to go through the things one more time. First, it will give you a little bit of clarity, what happened and who is who in the zoo, right? Also, the people with whom you was communicating, that also like they also have a little bit more time to understand, what's going on and how it can be useful. And third, it's just how it is. It's polite. Please do not neglect it. These things still work.
Absolutely. Consistency and persistency are my favorite words, to be honest, to make,
Exactly.
yeah, it's like thing that really makes you to make sustainable and scalable business model. Okay, we're running out of time, and I'm very pleased to have you on board and to absorb so much energy from you. And me, Anastasia, we invite you to participate in Future Summit of Ukraine, which is going to be held in Stockholm on February 15, 16. You can find the link in the LinkedIn podcast overview. So obviously, everyone would share some insights afterwards. But if you have any kind of chance or possibility to join live, it would be much better because we have a lot of great speakers on board and networking opportunities for Star especially. And thanks everyone who were joining us live in the evening on Friday. I think it means a lot to us
Yes.
personally.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of marvelous options how you can spend Friday evening, but you decided to spend it with us, so we're very
We're
happy with
pleased.
it.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you for joining me. So see you in Stockholm, and have a great the rest of the day, everyone.
Too.